It really was gross.
That scene just hit me like a sledgehammer.
From beginning to end, the movie is amazing. Hey guys, welcome back to the VHS Revolution show. My name is David Schumann, and today we are rewinding back to 1995 for the 30th anniversary of one of my all-time favorite movies, David Fincher's Seven. An amazing movie, still stands the test of time. My friend Mike Klemak is back to discuss the movie with me. We had a great conversation. So here it is. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, welcome back to the VHS Revolution show, and my guest is Mike Klemak. Mike, welcome back.
Glad to be back.
It's the 30th anniversary of Seven this year, directed by David Fincher, starring Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Kevin Spacey. And I see we're both wearing our David Fincher swag. You have your Seven ball cap. I have my Social Network t-shirt, which is really only the second time I've ever worn this shirt.
I think this might be the second time I've worn this hat. So
yeah. So 30 years ago, we saw this really amazing movie. Tell me about your first experience watching Seven.
Well, 30 years ago, I was 14 years old. So I did not see it in theaters. I was too young. So I was of that second generation who watched it multiple times on VHS and then owned the DVD and wore out the commentaries on the DVD with my college roommate. For me, I got to have a very pivotal moment in my life when they did the re-release of Seven for the 30th anniversary, and I got to go see it in the theater and in IMAX. And right. I was so happy to be able to experience that. Because honestly, not having the theatrical experience, I don't have a memory that's attached to my first viewing of it, because it was probably grouped in a bunch of rentals that we'd rented for the weekend. And then, it had already, because of the length of time that it took for movies to come out, it had built up a reputation, even pre-internet. Word of mouth was huge on it. And so I think we were excited to see the movie, but we didn't know what we were going to get into. And so I think it was just an experience that then really threw me for a loop. So I can't speak to remembering exactly what it was like experiencing that for the first time.
Yeah. But
I can tell you what it did to me. And what it did to me was it was this huge piece of inspiration. Because as you know, I'm a screenwriter as well as an actor and set deck and, in all these different things in the film industry. But when I have sat down to write a suspense thriller, the movie I want to write is Seven. It, to me, is perfect for this genre. Yep. There is no other movie that encapsulates the mood, the aesthetic, the tension that Seven does. And so my hope would be that I could get even a percentage close to that script, because that is what I'm chasing when I'm trying to write in this genre.
I actually saw it under the best possible circumstances. So I was living in Vancouver. I'm just a few years older than you. So I probably saw it when I was 17. And I saw it in the theater at the Cineplex Odeon on Granville Street in Vancouver.
Nice.
And when I came out of the theater, it was raining and it was dark and it was night. And I felt like I was still in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, kind of like you were saying, when I watching the movie, I just thought, oh my God, you can do this? I had never seen a movie like that before. A cop thriller, sure. But in terms of what Fincher did visually and tonally, I had never seen anything like that. And we'll get to our favorite scenes and moments from the movie in a bit. But I just remember being so floored by not just the ending, but the entire experience of the film. It was dark and intense and thrilling and suspenseful and also exhilarating as somebody who loves film like you do. I had never seen anything like it, really.
When we talked about Usual Suspects, I referred to the term neo-noir. Yeah. And I feel like this is a continuation of that. It's taking what the noir films of, the 40s, 50s, 60s, up into the 70s. And it really gave it a facelift and an update for the 90s crowd. Because the 90s was this dejected, depressed, recovering, hungover decade after the 80s had just completely decimated it with big everything, big color, big hair, lots of drugs, like the music, the movies, it was all spectacle. And there's a reason why grunge became so big is you had this generation of kids and young adults who were just done with it all. They'd hit fuck it and they were just done. And the movies of that decade, and why I still to this day will fight anyone who says that the 90s isn't the best decade for movies and music, is because of that. It's because there had to be a shift. And this is where the shift took it. If Usual Suspects is a movie that's like a whodunit detective movie, this is a whodunit detective movie from hell. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like it wants to fuck you over and make you feel like you don't deserve to live in this piece of shit world. It's just like,
yeah. And it's funny because it has a lot of elements and tropes that are common to movies of that time. The buddy cop, kind of mismatched pair, and it has the wife, and it has, a villain, a very nasty, tricky villain, all of these kind of different elements that we were used to, but it subverts them all in these really interesting, mind-blowing ways, to be honest, and it came, like you were saying, like right in 95, right midway through the decade, when grunge, I'm going to use grunge very loosely. Grunge was still very popular. That the music that came of it, the culture, the fashion was all still very prevalent in 1995. Even to this day, Brad Pitt's jacket and his like rumpled clothes and his kind of messy hair and Morgan Freeman's hat and trench coat, it's both of the time and also timeless. And I think that's what's so great about it. And honestly, I could watch this movie every day. If I did, I would probably get very depressed. But it's like that great. It's one of those movies that, and I did watch it a lot this week in preparation for this episode. But it's just one of those movies that I never get sick of. It's and for being such a like dark, ugly movie, it's actually also very beautiful in a visually artistic way.
So seeing it in IMAX allowed for, and I have seen the movie 100 times, and I was sitting there like it was my first time. There was so much to look at all at once because of what Fincher does, and he creates this world, and I found myself looking at the city as that fifth main character.
Yeah.
And because Fincher is Fincher, you know that everything was purposeful and everything was specific because he's a specific director. And so when you're looking and you see the way that it's framed up with the trestle of the subway or the train, and the rain is pouring down and you're getting these like muted colors and this, it's not gray ever. It's like having a scrim on the screen. It's like all the colors are there, but it has this filter of what the film is trying to show you, which is that, there is no safe place. There is no good place. All that's left is the dregs of society. And we don't get heroes anymore. We just get people trying to hold the dam.
Yes.
You go into this thinking that it's like a dramatic, lethal weapon. You're gonna get thrown for a loop because you have the older cop, you have the younger cop, you have them going up against a big bad, but it's not going to go the way you expect, and you cannot predict. Had you never seen this, you would not be able to predict that it was going to go where it went.
No, in fact, I remember sitting there in the theater, and when we get to that desert area, I was like, where are we? I really had no idea where the movie was going and how it was going to wrap up. And we'll get to this later, but even when that van shows up, I was like, what is that? Like, is the van going to explode? Like, is there an army in there? Like, I didn't know what to expect. And that's a testament to how great the movie is and how much it keeps you just off kilter.
A lot of times, because films follow a formula, you're like, oh, I know what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
the character might be oblivious, but as an audience member, we know the rules of storytelling. We know what has to happen. This movie, because it was breaking all of these tropes and like establishing tropes and then breaking them, left us in this sense of like, I don't know what the fuck is going to go on. This van could explode and kill Somerset. And then maybe that's the last thing. Even Somerset has a line that says, if John Doe showed up and an
alien comes
out of his head, I would not be surprised. Yeah. And that again is this commentary that the screenwriter and David Fincher are saying. Our audience is feeling the same way right now. Like, we don't know what's going to go on.
That's a really great observation and something I never thought about because it's just so much a part of the movie, but the characters are constantly commenting on this fucking crazy situation and this killer who's doing things they've never seen before. And so you're right. While we're commenting on how crazy it is, so are the characters in the movie commenting on it. And especially like when they go into John Doe's apartment and they see all this stuff. It's just amazing. From beginning to end, the movie is amazing.
The movie opens with that remix of Closer by Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah.
And those credits, which are like a mini movie unto themselves. And then literally as soon as you finish the song, all you hear is like street noise. And there's the ticking of that metronome that gets established. And like he created the soundscape where the score is used sparingly, which makes it that much more impactful, but it's not like the sweeping epic music that we get in a lot of movies. The movie creates a character out of the location, and it creates a character out of the sound and or lack thereof. And that in itself was something that I remember being like, what is this?
Yeah, the sound work is really great because you hear these like little echoes and sirens and water drips and all these little things that kind of emphasize the dank darkness of this city and this environment that these guys are in. And no matter where they go, like you said, no matter where they go, there's no safe place. But the score I really love, and I noticed the score a lot this time. In fact, on the DVD or on the digital release, there's the 4 commentaries, and one of the commentaries is a sound commentary. And it's the movie basically with just the score by Howard Shore. So I was really able to listen and focus on how the music is used. And you're right, sometimes it's used very quietly just to kind of establish this dark, ominous tone. And then as the film progresses, it's used and sometimes in big flourishes when they go to when all the police kind of head out and they're heading to the place where they think John Doe is, but it's the body on the bed. I forget which sin that is. The music is very loud and very big.
Sloth, I think.
Sloth, yeah. And then at other times, like you said, like it's very quiet. And there's also commentary on that track by Ren Kleiss, who did the sound design, who's an Oscar-winning sound designer. In every respect, sound, visuals, script, direction, art direction, the like not the visual look of the city and all these locations that just feel very old and worn down is just beautiful. And we can get to this in a moment, but I'm shocked that the movie was only nominated for 1 Oscar. 1 Oscar.
What?
I actually don't think that the Oscars that year were ready for the kinds of movies that made up that year. You know, I love Apollo 13 and Braveheart. Those are great movies, and not to take anything away from the nominated movies, but Heat, one of the greatest movies of all time, was nominated for 0 Oscars.
Oh my God.
7 was nominated for 1 Oscar. There's just a bunch of great movies from that year that were not nominated because I don't think that they were quite ready. Even Casino was nominated for 1 Oscar for Sharon Stone. And I think that they were still kind of holding on to their kind of period epics, their safe Hollywood movies, and they weren't quite ready for what was coming. And as the years went on, even past the 90s, the Academy took more chances in their nominations.
Yeah, they hadn't gotten there yet. Like, it had to be a sweeping epic. Otherwise, you know, The English Patient, like that's right. Like Oscar bait, you know, because you're like, here's what the Oscars used to gravitate toward. But yeah, they I can't believe one. So what was it nominated for?
For Best Editing, which not undeserving, but if you look at like the cinematography, the art direction, the direction, the script, I mean, one of the most celebrated scripts literally of all time, and just did not get any recognition.
I want to talk about the script at some point. We don't have to do it right now, because I did read one version of the script, and it was very interesting to read it after seeing the movies.
So Andrew Kevin Walker had written the script, and it was first developed for this director, Jeremiah Chechik, who directed National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
A great movie,
Great
you know.
movie.
Yeah. Nothing in that movie tells me that guy could do a movie like Seven, but he also directed Benny and June in '93.
Yeah.
And what's funny is, for whatever reason, he dropped out, or he didn't end up doing the film. But the year after, in '96, he directed the remake of Diabolique with Sharon Stone.
Right.
Which was, I guess, his attempt at a kind of dark thriller.
Right, yeah.
But that movie bombed, so I don't know what that tells you. And apparently at one point, Denzel Washington was considering the David Mills role, but he said that the film was too dark for him.
Didn't Denzel go on a couple of years later to do Fallen? Like
he did, yes. Yeah. So then Denzel did his own serial killer thriller with Fallen, exactly. Yeah. And then he did The Bone Collector a couple of years after that. So it's really funny. It's like all these people were afraid of Seven. Even the studio was afraid of it. Once it was a hit, then everybody started doing their version. Yeah. And almost in every case, they weren't hits.
Yeah, it's like everyone was waiting for the first person to jump off the cliff into the river. Yeah. And as soon as Fincher and Andrew Kevin Walker did that, everyone else was like, oh, it's safe to jump.
Exactly. And according to the research and also Fincher on the commentary, he somehow got involved or got, asked to read the script. And so he got sent the script. He loved the script. And he said, he called Michael DeLuca, who was the head of New Line at the time, and said, I love the script. I love the ending with the, head in the box. And Michael DeLuca said, oh, no. You got sent the wrong version of the script. That was the first version. It's up to version 9 now. Let me send you the new version. So he gets sent the new version, which has a totally different ending, a happy ending, and he hates it. And he's like, I can't do the movie with this ending. You have to do the original ending. Both Fincher and Brad Pitt said that they wouldn't do the movie if they didn't do the ending. And somehow they were able to do it with the original ending, but the producer, Arnold Coppelson, who had produced like Platoon and The Fugitive, this like huge movie producer, was like really unhappy with them for doing that. And, somehow it all turned out, but it was a rocky road.
Well, now seems like a good time to talk about the script, because years after the movie came out, I'd gotten my hands on a version of the script because I was into reading famous scripts through like one of these websites, like Drew's Scriptorama or whatever.
Sure.
And I read a version of Seven that was not the first draft with the head in the box. And it has this like chase scene where they go into like a water processing plant, and then Mills, I think, or maybe it's Somerset, shoots John Doe, and it's one of the happier ending ones. And I remember finishing the script and going, what the fuck is this? This sucks. This isn't the movie that I love.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, and I had attributed it to, because I didn't know the lore around it, to Fincher making some choices on it. I'm glad to know that Andrew Kevin Walker had initially written the good ending
Yeah.
and the one that they filmed, because the version that I guess was the studio choice that was up on this website was, it was still a good script. The ending was terrible.
This is a good time to do a little show and tell. So I'm going to start with the VHS.
I remember it well.
I also have the Blu-ray, which is, I think it has all the special features from the DVD, but I'm saving the DVD. Usually I do the VHS last, but this DVD, this 2-disc special edition, back when studios were releasing these really, oh yes, amazing. Yeah, back when the studios were releasing these really beautifully packaged special edition DVDs, it has this like booklet that's created to look like John Doe's journal, and all the notes of all the special features. There's 4 commentaries, one from Fincher, Brad Pitt, and Morgan Freeman, one from the Andrew Kevin Walker and the editor, and also Michael DeLuca is in there as well. And then a visual one from Darius Kanji, the cinematographer, along with Fincher and some other people. And then there's all these like deleted scenes. Yeah, deleted scenes. Even the deleted scenes have commentary.
Yeah.
And then my favorite is the DVD ROM.
Right.
Which I don't think that I ever used, but the DVD ROM, according to the back, DVD ROM content includes a printable original screenplay with links to the feature film. I wonder if that actually still works. I doubt it, but
Well, if you look on the inside, it actually says DVD-ROM content. Navigate through a comprehensive John Doe website, penetrating the killer's mind, with links to his photo gallery, several of his quote-unquote fan sites, reading list, and exploration of the 7 deadly sins.
amazing.
That's so good.
It's so good, and this is truly one of the best DVD editions of any movie ever. This DVD edition is so comprehensive and so amazing.
Is yours the Canadian one?
It might be, yeah. Why?
Because mine is the Canadian one because it says set at the bottom. There's 7 and then it says set.
Oh, no, mine doesn't have set.
There you go. So mine's the Canadian one.
So why don't we just start? We don't have to go scene by scene, but I just want to talk about some of our favorite scenes in the film. I say this really with the fact that literally every scene in the film is my favorite, and I love this film from top to bottom, and it does no wrong. But what are some standout scenes for you?
Standout scenes. Obviously, the first murder with the guy with his face down in the spaghetti.
Yeah.
When they come into that house and you see this giant hulked over a table, I remember looking at that and being like, what movie am I watching?
Yeah, right from the beginning, yeah.
What is this? The makeup on it is so good. The distended skin with the veins and like all this vascular like grossness of this dead body. When Mills goes under the table and there's the bucket of vomit.
Yes.
And just his reaction to it is so visceral and good because he's a cop. He's a professional. And he's like, fucking vomit.
Yeah, and he does the thing with his nose where he like shoots out these snot rockets.
So that is the first scene that I remember just hit me like a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
And then I love that after the pieces of vinyl are found in his stomach, Somerset comes back and figures out and finds in the grease gluttony written.
Yes. Behind the refrigerator.
Behind the refrigerator. And you're like, this is some creepy, premeditated shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a crime of passion. So that's the first one.
Hold on. I just want to interrupt you just to talk a little bit more about that scene. Again, according to the commentary, that actor had to spend 10 hours in makeup for that scene, and they put his head in the bowl, and they had like a tube that he could breathe through. They had created all of this, you know, with the grease and the grime and the vomit and the, you know, whatever they did. And they actually poured real tomato sauce around him and then let it sit for like a week.
Jesus.
So when the actors walked in, they didn't have to pretend that it was gross. It really was gross.
Why not use a dummy? Why have an actor in a fat suit breathing through a tube? Like, it's not like in the sloth scene where the guy has to like come alive and move. This guy's dead. He's a corpse.
Yeah.
So why not use a fake body? It's so strange to me.
That's a good question. Before we go further, can we talk about the opening credits a little bit?
Oh my gosh. So good. Yes. So I mentioned earlier, it's a remix of an industrial song, like already, like Nine Inch Nails. It's industrial. It's moody in and of itself. I mean, it's Trent Reznor. Of course it's moody. Yeah. And then they did this remix of it, this different take on it, which is so much creepier with like these, like the sounds of like nails on like piano strings and, you know, the soundscape of stuff. And then you start to see these images and the typeface that they chose that's all kind of disjointed and off. And then the images are starting to tell this backstory of John Doe. You see him with his fingers bandaged and he's sewing books. Like I said in the beginning, it's like a mini movie. It's its own piece of art that sets you in this mindset to be like, oh God, I'm in for it.
Yeah. And for a movie that doesn't reveal the killer until, I don't know, 40 or 50 minutes into the film, maybe even longer, this is really the thing that establishes who he is. And it's because of how great this opening title sequence is that we remember that throughout the film leading up to his big reveal. And it's kind of brilliant the way that it sets up with these journals, with all of these writings. And they really did, the production department really created all these journals and all of this stuff in John Doe's world, and the way that he's like cutting out words from dollar bills and all this really crazy stuff. And yes, mixed with this song that has, like you said, all these like elements to it that sound dissonant. They just sound very like dissonant and off. And
they also smartly don't use any of the lyrics until the very end when you see David Fincher's name and the line, "You bring me closer to God."
And then, like you said, we just hear the sirens and the sounds of the city. Like to go into another piece of music right there would have totally diminished the impact of that ending.
My next favorite scene is the one where Mills gets the Cliff's Notes from the cop and is trying to learn about Dante. And
Dante.
and his reaction to it, and he freaks out. Fucking Dante, piece of shit.
The way that either he's written or that Brad Pitt plays him, or kind of a combination of the two, is he's not stupid, right? No. He's a good detective.
Yeah.
And he's not just some new kid on the block. They establish him as being a good detective. He just has never encountered anything like this before, right? Yeah. This is kind of like above his level of experience. And so, like you said, like he is trying to keep up with all of these references that he's kind of not been exposed to.
Yeah.
And another element of the film that I love, and this just seems like a good time to talk about it, is the way that the film kind of takes this buddy cop trope and grounds it, evolves it in a way that feels it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like, oh, Somerset doesn't like Mills because he's a young hothead, and Mills doesn't like Somerset because he's old and grizzled. Their conflicts are much more nuanced than that.
Well, it's also because it's not about Somerset not respecting Mills. He says to the chief, he goes, "I'm retiring. I cannot start this." And that's where his distaste for the case comes from, is like, he knows right off the get-go.
He doesn't want to even be there.
Yeah, but he's like, this is not the case to end on. This is going to go on for a while.
Around that time is one of my favorite scenes, which is the library sequence where Somerset goes to the library to do this research on the 7 deadly sins. And it's for Mills, but it's intercut with Mills at home looking over all these papers and things and not knowing what to make of it. And then you have Somerset in the library. You have the security guards who are playing poker, these kind of old guys. They know him. He's done this before. This is not his first time coming to the library to do research. Yeah. And I just love the whole way that sequence
the classical music,
the way that it's shot and edited, and the green lamps at the desk.
Yeah, the library lamps.
It's just a really beautiful sequence amidst all this kind of like shitty darkness, you know, to have this like really this almost sweet kind of interlude.
And there's the juxtaposition of they show the images from things like Dante and things like Paradise Lost. And like the image that stands out to me is from one of those texts where it's the guy holding the head up.
Totally. Yes.
But then the juxtaposition happens with that classical music, a really nice, beautiful piece. And then that sequence ends with him putting that packet together for Mills and dropping it on his desk. That's his favor to him.
Right.
And then the piece of writing that I love in the script is Somerset has, you know, he's like, I'm out. I'm not doing this case, but decides to help him anyway. And then the next case he gets, the lawyer's wife, I think.
Yeah.
And it's still the same case.
Yeah.
And it's like, now they're forced to work together again.
Yes.
And that's just great writing. And that murder for me, like that isn't one of the more impactful ones for its style or anything, but I do love it because it is the connective tissue between the two cases.
The shot in the library sequence of the head, we don't realize that that's foreshadowing, right?
Yeah.
And because it's just one of many images that we see.
Yeah. And it's a classic text. Like people,
yes,
if they've studied any of that, they'll have seen that image.
And so I think that's what's one of the things that's so great about this movie is it takes things that actually exist in the world and uses them for the purposes of this fictional serial killer thriller. Yeah. Right? It's not like those drawings were created for the purposes of this montage. It's like this is stuff that's actually discoverable in the library. You could go and look up this stuff and find these drawings and these texts.
And also, if you weren't a biblical scholar or like, you know, like a well-studied Christian, who knew about the 7 deadly sins?
Right.
There end up being other sins. There are different types of sins. You know, they're like lesser sins and greater sins. You wouldn't know that. And then this movie brought that into the zeitgeist so heavily that it spawned an entire subgenre of movies that we start to get, which have this biblical tie. Like if you're thinking like End of Days or
Fallen,
Stigmata, Fallen, all of these things have this like against God, against the Christian ideal in the supernatural realm. This started that, even though it's not supernatural. Like 7 is not a supernatural movie.
No,
it just seems like John Doe operates from a supernatural space because of the lengths he's willing to go. The next scene for me that sticks with me is the discovery of the sloth guy. And I've read that like the actor, they chose like the skinniest, most emaciated guy that they could, and then put these prosthetics on him to make it look like his teeth were protruding from his face. And the thing that it's like the rest of the film, you don't expect that to happen.
Not at all.
They come in, there's all of the air fresheners, and it's so off-putting because you're like, oh, he's masking the smell. That's a lot. That's fucked.
Yeah.
Then they find the Polaroids going back a year.
Yes.
Where he's been doing this to this guy for a year. And, you know, you get Mills and Somerset making their comments about it. And then the guy like coughs like right in Mills's face, and everyone loses their minds. Everyone's like, what the fuck? And the guy, like the shot is like, again, it's kind of like supernatural or like horror film-esque.
Yes, it's horror filmy. Yeah. I fully expected seeing it in the theater to have that just be another dead body. And again, like it's such a great subversion of our expectations that the body is not dead. And it's also great the way the movie keeps upping the levels of insanity that this serial killer has gone to pull off this incredible, I don't know what you want to call it, feat. Masterpiece
I don't want to include it, but yeah.
And it's not just what John Doe has done, but for every killing, it's this thing for Somerset and Mills, like, okay, like, can you handle this? Can you handle this?
Yeah.
Are you willing to go into this level of darkness and depravity and still keep your head on straight?
My next scene that I want to talk about is his apartment. Like if this is like a Netflix series, you could have
definitely
an episode take place in John Doe's apartment.
Yes.
There are these back rooms. There's all this religious paraphernalia. There's all of the books. There's the photo developing bathroom. It's like a never ending maze of crazy.
Yes. And I love that you said never ending maze, because that's exactly what I was thinking of. The way that they shot it is like there's stuff here, there's stuff here, there's stuff there, there's stuff everywhere, and it kind of never ends, like you said.
And the neon cross, there are so many dark corners.
Before they get into his apartment, there's this incredible foot chase scene. So I love a good foot chase. One of my favorite foot chases is in Point Break, where Keanu is chasing Patrick Swayze through the alleys and houses of Venice, California. The foot chase in Seven is one of my favorites. And Fincher and Pitt are saying on the commentary that one of the things that they hate about foot chases is that it always seems like the characters know where the other person is going. And so they're just kind of like chasing and following each other. But in Seven, Pitt doesn't really know where John Doe is.
No, he's looking constantly.
He goes into somebody's apartment and he's looking, and then he sees the window and he gets shot at, and he has to jump down, and then he's running across, and the whole way that it's shot is great. And it's really, I think, maybe the only Fincher movie, maybe Fight Club uses some handheld as well, but it's really one of the only Fincher movies that uses a lot of handheld camera. And it especially does it in this chase scene to have us feel kind of off balance, not in a shaky cam, Paul Greengrass kind of way, but in a way that has us feel like it's really happening to these characters. They end up going outside, and
he falls down, and
he falls down. And he runs across the cars. I love that shot of Brad Pitt running across the cars. According to the filmmakers and Pitt, in one of those takes, he fell through a windshield and cut his hand on the glass. And he had to get all these stitches, and that's why his hand is in a cast. And so they make it seem like he breaks his arm when he falls in the dumpster.
Right.
But that's really like a turning point in the film, because that's really the first time that we see John Doe, even though we don't see his face. That's the first time we see him as a figure.
Yeah.
So Pitt ends up by the dump truck or whatever it is outside. It's pouring rain. He's kind of bloody. His hand is all fucked up. And then he gets knocked out by John Doe, right?
Yeah.
And in that great
Who's
sequence
like up above,
where he points the gun at his head.
And it's this like upward angle, and the rain is coming down, and
you see the butt of the gun is in focus, and everything else is kind of out of focus, but you see the silhouette of John Doe. And he could just kill Mills right then and there. Right? And we're wondering, why didn't he? And it's because he needed Pitt to survive so that he could play out this master plan, and so that Pitt could suffer.
That sequence into the apartment.
Yeah.
I think those two sequences together might be my favorite of the entire film, because it's just, you get the foot chase, And then you get this location of creepy shit, which is like the personification of the inside of John Doe's brain,
Yeah.
of his obsessive tendencies and his level of crazy. Which leads me into a scene I really don't want to talk about.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah. Which somehow ups the level of crazy.
Let's put it this way. Can we talk about Leland Orser?
Yes.
Because this is a man who cut his teeth on being this crazy manic character, because he plays this same guy in like 4 different films where he loses his mind in a very similar way. I don't think he'd done much before this.
Yeah, he was probably did a bunch of TV shows.
Yeah, totally. So imagine being an actor where you have to get emotional and say the lines, and he made me fuck her.
Yeah.
Fuck her. And like, and you're like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah, you have one scene. You have one scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have one scene.
Yeah.
And then he's like, get this thing off of me. Like, it's just like, it is going to 11 with his performance. Yeah. You have that put against the guy who runs the club, who's so like lackadaisical and like.
So this guy runs a sex club, right?
Yeah.
And that's where John Doe carried out this other murder with this dildo that's essentially like a blade.
A blade dildo, yeah.
A blade dildo. And he has this Leland Orser character fuck this woman and
kill her.
Fucking kill her. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Of all the ways to up the ante in this film, you're going like, what?
Yeah, and the movie doesn't show really anything to do with that murder. I mean, we see the woman, but we don't see anything graphic other than like a shot, kind of an out of focus shot of the dildo itself. But it's so much more horrifying seeing it through this character who had to commit this act. And he's so, I mean, the guy is just fucked for life from this experience. There's no coming back from this. Again, the way that Fincher shoots it and the way that it's cut, where you see him, he's like hyperventilating, he's sweating, you know,
has
he's
a blanket around him.
He's recounting the story. And then the film cuts to the reels, the audio reels recording the sound as he's just freaking out. And then it just cuts to this shot of Morgan Freeman in his interrogation room sitting and Pitt sitting in his interrogation room sitting.
Yeah.
And it's just like, they're so in this thing now, they can't get out of it.
What happens now is the beginning of the end, in which John Doe walks in with bloody hands. And that is such an iconic shot. And then it's revealed that it's Kevin fucking Spacey.
Yeah.
Then it's just, basically it's like one whole sequence from this point forward.
Let's just talk about the scene where, for a second, where John Doe gives himself up. So there's this establishing shot of Mills and Somerset outside the police precinct as they're walking in. And then in the same shot, a cab pulls up and these 2 feet get out of the cab and walk towards the police precinct. But the whole time we're hearing this conversation between Mills and Somerset about John Doe, even as they're walking, and we hear John Doe saying, detective, but they're too preoccupied in their conversation to hear it. And then he screams, detective! Right?
Yeah.
Mills turns around and he's there. He says, you're looking for me. And his hands are all bloody. And then Mills is in full fucking cop mode where he's like, down, fucker, down, you know. And everybody's screaming and there's commotion and everything. And then the guy goes to handcuff him and there's blood everywhere. It's just such another moment that we don't expect.
Yeah.
That catches us off guard. And the movie's constantly doing that. It's so
and also even when they're doing the fingerprinting.
Yeah.
The fingerprinting guy's like, what the fuck? Like it's bloody. It's like blood and ink.
Yeah.
So it's like red and black and it's just smushed.
Yes.
And it's just like taking what you would expect of like a normal like photographing and fingerprinting scene that's in like every cop movie, right? And going like, no. Like this is far different than what we've experienced.
One of my favorite moments in movies is when they're shaving and Pitt mentions his wife, right? And then there's a pause and Pitt says, you know, and then he doesn't finish his sentence. And and it gets Somerset's attention. Like, what was he going to say? And we're so used to dialogue in movies where characters finish their sentences, right? They have a thought, they say the thought. There's very few times in movies where characters almost say something
Yeah.
and then pull back. I just love those moments where we feel like we know these characters well enough to know what they're thinking, but there's still moments where we don't get to hear everything. So then that leads us into the desert scene.
Driving to the desert, that car ride
thank you, yes,
is so interesting because you have them trying to eke out information from him. You have this chess game being played, and you have Mills trying to keep it under wraps and failing because it's the most that we've had of John Doe, both screen time and dialogue wise. You get a sense that he is extremely intelligent. He's premeditated all of this, even though the person should be crazy, like Mills says. He's like, you're a fucking psycho. Like, he seems so calm. Like, so it's a very interesting kind of three-way dynamic power shift going on as they're trying to do their job, but John Doe is just controlling it just by what he's saying. Yeah,
and it's a great, just from a screenwriting perspective, that scene is a great way to establish Mills kind of like coming undone a little bit, like losing his cool. And that the whole time, John Doe, as they say, really does have the upper hand. He is the one controlling. He's the one getting under Mills's skin.
Yeah, I was saving that line of Somerset being, John Doe has the upper hand.
Yeah.
It's so perfect because he does. And there's never a time that he doesn't.
This whole movie is basically one big fuck you to David Mills from John Doe, which is horrifying. It's not like cool. It's not like a cool fuck you. It's this horrifying destruction of this guy's life. You know, like we said before, when we get to the desert, we don't really know what's going on. This van shows up. We have no idea what the van is, who's in the van.
But there's also this interesting single moment of levity when there's like a dead coyote and John Doe says, I didn't do that. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
The best thing in like thrillers or horrors is the build and release of tension, right? You want it to be a roller coaster ride because if it's all at this level and it never lets loose,
it's too much.
It's too much.
Yeah.
And if it's all a slow burn, then the audience gets bored.
Yeah.
So there has to be a constant rise and fall.
So the head in the box thing was crazy then, and it's still crazy now.
The van pulls up. Somerset goes to investigate that. It's just a driver. He's delivering a package, flicks open his switchblade, opens it up, and is like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And so then Somerset starts running.
Yes.
And we don't know what the fuck is happening as an audience. We're like, why is he's running back to Mills and John Doe.
And the helicopter guys, they don't know what's going on either, right?
Yeah. And so this confusion starts to build. That's as John starts saying it. Revealing. And then we get the iconic line of like, what's in the box?
Yeah.
What's in the box?
Yeah.
And then he says, and I took her pretty head. What a series of moments.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy.
It's like cataclysmic is what it feels like. It's this series of moments that just feel like just when we think it couldn't possibly get any worse, the most horrendous thing happens.
Yeah, it's like we've seen a knife dildo.
Right, exactly.
Like,
all this stuff does not prepare you for this final reveal, and that John Doe has essentially completed his, as we said, masterpiece of murder by getting himself killed. Yeah. Right? That Pitt is the one who finishes it by committing what is the last wrath. Exactly.
Because he says, I envied your life.
Yes. Envy is my sin. Yes.
That moment of seeing Brad, he's just learned this. And it's confirmed by the look on Somerset's face. The internal struggle that you see Brad Pitt, the actor, doing for the character of Mills is a fucking masterclass.
I agree.
You see him thinking, and then the idea that she was pregnant, and like he almost gets sick at one point. He's like, oh
Yeah.
oh Jesus, oh God, you know, and he's like, fuck you, I'm gonna do. He's like, I can.
But then he's like crying, but then he tries to like steel himself up, and then he's like crying, and he's like going through so much. There's so much, and the camera just holds on his face in this really tight close up. It's just mesmerizing.
Like I said, it's a fucking like masterclass in so many different thoughts and emotions, trying to be subdued, trying to be controlled, and bubbling over anyway.
Yeah. Yes. And then we see this flash of Gwyneth Paltrow, and it's not like he just shoots him, because he shoots him in the head, right?
Yeah.
But then afterwards, he's just like,
he empties his clip into him. Yeah.
But he's just like, he doesn't even know what he's doing anymore. He's just like, boom, boom, just shooting. And, you know, and then that's basically the end, right? Oh, and then you have one final thing at the very end, which is the end credits go in reverse.
Yeah. Yeah. They go
from the top down instead of from the bottom up, which is just like the final thing that they had to do differently is the end credits.
Yeah. There are movies that are great movies that I will never watch again. Mm-hmm. I've experienced it and I'm like, okay.
Yep. Requiem for a Dream. Requiem for a Dream.
Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah.
The Passion of the Christ. Like I watch that and I go, I don't need to see a guy tortured for 2 hours again. I'm good. I know this. Yeah. 7 is like this masochistic, abusive relationship. You know, you're like, oh my God, do I really want to go through this again? This emotional journey of just like all of this crazy shit. And you're like, absolutely, I do.
Yeah.
I'm hook, line, and sinker. I'm going to do it again.
Yeah. And at the end, you're like, that was horrible and totally worth it.
I feel so gross. Yeah. Like humanity sucks. And that movie was awesome.
Yeah.
It's like,
exactly.
It's like, oh man.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you want to say about 7 that we haven't already talked about?
There's a reason why you and I both have the New Line Platinum Series DVD still to this day.
Yeah.
I don't collect tapes and DVDs. I've sold off a lot of my media like that, but that one just it's there for a reason.
Yeah.
So
well, usually when we do when I do these rewind episodes, I'll ask my guest to come up with a movie that they want to discuss. But with you, I've requested to talk about Usual Suspects, and I've requested to talk about 7. And they're just, you know, and we talked about Mission Impossible, all the Mission Impossible movies. So we'll have to, the next one will have to be one that's your pick.
One for me, one for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Mike. This has been awesome. I love this fucking movie, and I love talking about it, and it's just been great talking about it with you.
Me too. Thank you for thinking about me for this movie, because I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I could talk about it for hours more, but we won't.
Right. We'll leave it at that. All right. See you, man.
See you, bud.
Okay, that was my conversation on 7. Mike, thanks again for being here. Love having you on the show. And thank you to you for watching the episode. There's more great episodes on the channel, the VHS Revolution Show. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and like all the videos and leave a comment. Why not? Just say, great episode, Dave, or something stupid like that. On November 19th, I'm going to be doing another watch along on my YouTube channel to another classic movie that's celebrating its anniversary this year, Back to the Future. Can't get enough. Love Back to the Future. I'm going to talk all about the movie, everything I love about it, share some behind the scenes facts. I also have a Back to the Future book that I'm going to be sharing some behind the scenes tidbits. So I hope you join me for that. It should be a lot of fun. I'll see you next time.